You got some names out there, Ken. Jadeveon Clowney, Everson Griffin, Clay Matthews, somebody else, any one free agent you'd go after at this point?
I like Everson Griffin. I know that he's a little bit long in the tooth, but I think I like him. With Jadeveon, anything over a year, I get nervous about. He started to play well during the latter half of what he did in Houston because maybe he was looking for a contract. He played through an injury last year. I know that we're looking at Olivier Vernon in a lot of ways, and I know there's such a thing as rollover cap and a couple other things that are still a little bit bigger than what I can think about. But if I'm looking at help this year, there's only so many guys I can pay. We talk about less. We talk about the possibilities of Jamal Adams in a trade and a couple other players. Right now, you have a talented football team. There's guys that you want to pay on your offense alone. People want to pay, even though I don't think it can happen. People want to pay Jarvis and Odell. They want. I think this either way. I think this could be the last year of Odell here. They want to pay Jarvis and Odell. They want to pay Nick Chubb. They want to pay offensive linemen. They want to pay Baker. Okay, well, how many more guys can you pay?
Well, that
Can I pay Davion Clowney?
if you're in that position where you have to choose, that means you've had a good year.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. But that's what's made me frustrated with this team because if you go down the line, that's five guys I can name right there that you could legitimately make an argument to say that guy is a long-term contract guy. That's why 6 and 10 was completely unacceptable last year, and what Baker did last year was completely unacceptable. But if I were to go out and get a Jamal Adams, which I don't think they can get, or they go out and they get Griffin's old enough where I think it makes sense. That's why I like him so much. But Jadeveon Clowney, what do I do about Miles? They're already talking to Miles about maybe $20, $25 million a year for a defensive end. And some people call him, by the way, Les, I talked to some coaches in college who watch him. There's guys who call him a one-trick pony. He wakes up out of bed and he's able to get 10 sacks in a season. So for a one-trick pony, quote unquote, he's able to wake up and get 10 sacks in a season. That's how good he is. So there's guys that I want to pay. I can't afford everybody. I don't know how much more that they can give to Clowney or Adams or anybody else out there.
All right, I can't put my finger on this, but something doesn't seem right with Clowney. Whether it's the fact that he started asking for 20, 21 million, came down, then said he didn't want Cleveland, but Cleveland's still in the hunt. There's just something missing there, and I don't know what it is.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that when I say both, one, he wants more security, he wants more years. I don't think he wants to move around a lot. The other thing is I think that this is tough for me to admit, but I think this is something that we have to admit. This is going to get me nasty emails, but guys have still looked in the NFL over the last 20 years, 15 years, because it wasn't this way in 99. This is a place where careers go to end. This is a place where a lot of guys get their final contracts and that's it. I mean, you look at some of the contracts that they've signed in free agency. How many of those guys went and played somewhere else? I mean, of the free agents they've signed, we've had plenty of guys we've drafted and they went to better organizations and they've done better things with those organizations. But of the guys we've signed in free agency, Les, how many of those guys have went on to exceptional careers somewhere else?
Nobody that I can think of.
Ben Tate, done. Paul Kruger, done. Dwayne Bowe, Kenny Britt.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. All right.
I think he's nervous about it.
The Bleacher Report has their thoughts on Everson Griffin. Former Minnesota Vikings defensive end Everson Griffin is a perfect target should the Browns go this route. He's a productive pass rusher even at 32, and he'd be a familiar face with the Cleveland coaching staff. New Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski began his NFL coaching career as an assistant with the Vikings in 2006 and remained on their staff for the entirety of Griffin's career. New defensive coordinator Joe Woods coached the defensive backs in Minnesota for the first 4 years of Griffin's tenure. Both should be somewhat familiar with what Griffin brings to the table. You know, I don't always agree with a new coach coming in and just bringing in his old guys, but it seems like this is one you'd want to do that.
Griffin's been a proud guy. I know that there's been a bit of an imbalance there, here and there, but that's something I can sympathize with and we can work with. At 32 years old, I think that he wants another year in the sun. I think that he would work very well with Kevin Stefanski. And again, I could do a year-by-year thing. So if he doesn't work out this year, hey, I can still hold on to Olivier Vernon. And if he doesn't work out this year, no big deal. But if Jadeveon Clowney doesn't work out this year, then I might be on the hook for some more money elsewhere. I think that's a big problem of what I'm trying to do here with this season. So I get worried about Jadeveon Clowney. I just have less worry with Everson Griffin. I think he's in good shape for that age. I think that he'd come in, and I think he would immediately pay dividends.
Yeah, I agree with you. No question about it. You can